MCU, Eternals is out. I saw it, so I'm adding it to this tier list. I've never done a tier list for the MCU before, but I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so let's talk about it. This is including all the Disney Plus shows. Now, I didn't add any of those extra shows, like, I don't even know what they're called, Agent Carter, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Just haven't seen them, and they don't seem as relevant to the MCU, so we're just talking all the movies and all the shows that have hit Disney Plus. Let's just get into it. So here's the warning. You're probably going to have different opinions than me, and that's the point. I know for a fact I got some spicy MCU takes that not everyone's going to share, so comment below, go ahead and roast me. Where did I get it wrong? But if you're going to do that, make sure you leave a like, make sure you subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Here are my rankings of the MCU. Start at the very beginning. Iron Man. Iron Man is an S tier. It is classic. Every time I give it a rewatch, there's something special about it. It's the classic MCU origin story that they all try to copy, and this one really does it the best. I think the arc of Tony Stark is truly something special, and I think this movie definitely holds up over the years. The Incredible Hulk is definitely an F tier movie. I don't know if I've actually seen it since it was originally released, but I'm not too concerned about Hulk stands coming at me in the comments. Iron Man 2 is also going down the F tier. Now, at the time when I saw this, I loved it, but I think it was mostly because of the whole Avengers coming into it. But looking back, I really don't think it holds up all that well. It was a movie designed to get Tony Stark to the next step, to get him into the Avengers, and it does it well, I suppose, but as a movie on its own, there's not really a whole lot of reason to watch it. Captain America: The First Avenger, I think, is a solid C tier movie. I don't think it's great, but it's definitely not the worst. I think if you were to isolate the Captain America trilogy, this movie would be a lot better, but in the context of all the other Marvel movies, it's just okay. Much better than Thor, though. And I don't hate Thor. I think it's a fun fish out of water story that we see a lot now, but there are elements that are definitely exciting, and I think the future Thor movies and where the characters of Thor and Loki eventually get to make this movie not the worst. Then we got the Avengers, which I'm gonna say is a solid C. Look, this movie is really solid, and I do think it holds up and is worth a rewatch, but I think of where we're at now, it's hard to go back and think a lot of those things are actually exciting. Iron Man 3 would be the next one. That's also going down the D tier. I think this movie is not the worst Iron Man sequel, and there's elements that are cute and charming, and it definitely deserves a rewatch by me, but there hasn't been any part of me that wants to go back and to watch this movie. Thor: The Dark World goes down into the F tier, and I will say the redemption that it does get in Avengers Endgame, and even seeing Loki, makes me want to, like, try to enjoy this movie, but I can't. I just can't get into this world. I believe Captain America: The Winter Soldier is next, and this is where my bias is going to show, because I'm putting this in the S tier. I think this movie works really well as a genre piece, being an espionage action thriller. It really takes a lot of the themes from the first Captain America and makes Civil War even more exciting to get to. And again, when I'm saying, like, isolate the Captain America trilogy, this movie is great, but even within the MCU, I think this movie is also great. I believe next up was Guardians of the Galaxy, and this is, I know where I'm gonna get a lot of hate. I'm putting it in the B tier. I think it's great. I think it's fun. I think it's musical. I like the characters. However, I think the best part of that movie is that it's different. And I just don't know if being different automatically makes it a great movie. Avengers: Age of Ultron, this is going down in the D tier. It's fun and charming at times, but there's really nothing unique about it that the Avengers didn't already do and that future Avengers movies would do. I think it did what it was supposed to and introduce characters like Wanda and Vision. Ant-Man is going down in the D tier. I really haven't wanted to rewatch this movie at all, and anything you would need to rewatch it for is in Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think Paul Rudd is great, but as a solo movie, I don't think I need to see Ant-Man explored that much more. Captain America: Civil War, I'm gonna have to put in the A tier. This movie's a blast, and even beyond the airport scene, the introductions of Black Panther and Spider-Man, I think the arc of both Iron Man and Captain America in this movie are something special. I think the downside to this is I wish it would have been played out more in Infinity War and Endgame, but I don't think the lack of resolution in future Avengers movies makes this story a battle. Guardians of the Galaxy 2, here we go. I'm putting it in the A tier. This movie is significantly better than the first Guardians of the Galaxy, and I could do a whole video just talking about this. The jokes are funnier, the music is more clever, the story arc and the villain. Like, every single character has such an emotional story arc when it comes to the idea of parenting in this film. It is so beautiful. Like, I will rewatch this movie over the first Guardians of the Galaxy any day. Spider-Man: Homecoming, I am gonna put in the B tier. I think this is a solid Spider-Man movie. I think where the movie suffers, though, is it does try really hard to be a part of the MCU. I'm not asking for a Spider-Man origin story, I just think I want it a little more isolated from the rest of what the MCU is doing. Thor: Ragnarok has to be an A tier, and I know this is such a basic pick because it's funny and it's colorful, but, like, it really is a good movie. It redeems Thor and Loki in such a way that makes you want to go watch other Thor movies, which is something that I couldn't say before. Black Panther is also going into the A tier. I've come around on Black Panther. When it first came out, I thought it was kind of generic and not very exciting, but, like, it is really good. I think what makes this movie so great is the villain, and there's actually drama and tension that you are invested in. Not to mention the music and the costume designs. It's really a great film. Avengers Infinity War, I'm also sticking down in the A tier. Wow, Marvel really had a streak of A movies, didn't they? Infinity War is great. I think it is an amazing film. I don't think it's perfect, and I also feel like that's where a lot of these comments are going to be directed towards. I think what they were able to accomplish is amazing. I think the story arc that Thanos gets in it is one of the best story arcs that any MCU movie has ever done. Ant-Man and the Wasp is a solid D movie. Again, it did what it needed to do to set itself up to help Endgame out. Besides that, like, I don't know, is there a reason to watch this again? I am just now realizing that I messed up Iron Man 3 and Iron Man 2. That is my bad. I hope people didn't get too upset and then left before I fixed that. Captain Marvel's next up. I'm going to put this in the B tier. This movie's tough to talk about because you got a lot of internet trolls, you got politics involving people's opinions on the movie. But I think it's solid. It's a unique way to tell an origin story. Is it cheesy and corny and overly 90s? Absolutely. And I think the payoff with her doesn't actually pay off because this movie was set up that she was going to have such a significant role in Endgame, and she really wasn't in the movie. So I think that's a little disappointing, but I'm hopeful that future movies that revolve around the themes and characters in Captain Marvel will eventually make this movie worth watching again. Avengers Endgame is an S tier for me. And I know that it's like, you know, people like to rate this the same level as Infinity War. And for me, I just think this movie's significantly better. I think this movie explores a lot of cool themes that other Marvel movies don't explore when it comes to death and loss. And the last hour is like the reason why I watch these movies. So I can't help but be a sucker for it. It is amazing. Spider-Man Far From Home is a C tier movie. Jake Gyllenhaal is obviously the best part of that movie, but it's just like, I don't know. It's not amazing. Black Widow, I'm also going to put in the C tier. I think I like this movie a lot more than most people do. I think the biggest issue is its release. I think if this movie would have come after Civil War, it would have been incredibly better. It's just hard to watch this now in 2021 and not view it through the lens of, we already know what happens to this character. Yeah, not me just skipping Doctor Strange completely. This is such an obvious D movie. The fact that I forgot it and didn't even notice it was on this list and I completely skipped its release date when I'm looking at a list of the order of release dates for the Marvel Cinematic Universe shows how forgettable this movie is. I think the character of Doctor Strange is interesting, and what he does in future movies is really cool, and what he will do in his future movies is going to be awesome, but this movie is just a generic origin story that you don't ever need to watch again. Shang-Chi, that is a B movie. I thought this movie was incredible. It definitely has issues with the story, but overall, the visuals and the unique fighting styles that we haven't seen in the MCU, this movie is fantastic. Eternals, all right, this is the new one. We're going to go B tier. I will never understand why this is the lowest rated MCU movie according to critics. I think this movie is a blast. It's a lot of fun. Issues? Absolutely. Best Marvel movie ever? Not even close. But it's good. It is a good, solid movie. Okay, we're going to do this quick. WandaVision is going to go in the B tier. It's quirky. I like television. Falcon and Winter Soldier going to go down in the D tier. Because let me tell you, that last episode was nowhere close to sticking the landing. Loki, we're going to put in the B tier as well. No hate on Loki. I just think a lot of people like it because of what's going to happen eventually. Show will always fine. What If, C tier. I don't know how to talk about it. It's like weird to like rate this among other things, but like it was fine. It was a good watch. Okay, so that's my rankings of the MCU. Where did I get it wrong? What are your hot takes? Or what are your normal takes, and where did I get it wrong? Comment below. I want to hear your thoughts. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Really, it means a lot when you can do that. And I will see you next time.